So welcome, Rahul.
Thank you.
Welcome to Desmania Detox.
Thank you very much.
And we know that you have been there in the industry for last 23 years now.
Yes, All India rank 13th at that time.
Yes.
So it was quite an interesting journey. I did my masters from IIT Delhi. Intentionally, I wanted to do it away from home. So my hometown is Aurangabad. I thought I should go away from Aurangabad so that I can learn more. So I started the design center in India back in 1998. At that time, design was pretty new to India and people were not very well aware about design. So I took a chance.
And we would like to see as to what Rahul has to say about design, his journey about doing new things, contributing to the business, contributing to the country. I'd like to welcome Rahul Kamble to Desmania's Detox. Detox is a show which talks about designers. It celebrates designers who are there in the industry, who have been working in the corporate and doing some fantastic work for the country, for the industry, for the company to meet their business objectives. So welcome, Rahul.
Thank you.
Welcome to Desmania Detox.
Thank you very much.
And we know that you have been there in the industry for last 23 years now.
Yes.
Rahul has a background of doing his masters in design from IIT Delhi, and after which he has worked in many multinational companies. Right now he is the head of an innovation cell in one of the major FMCG MNCs. And we would like to see as to what Rahul has to say about design, his journey about doing new things, contributing to the business, contributing to the country. So Rahul, can you give us some idea about your background, your experience?
Sure. So Anuj, my background is mechanical engineering, and after that I worked for a company, a small tool room I would say, where I learned hands-on on the processes. Then I did my masters from IIT Delhi.
So you were interested in doing design?
Yes, while I was doing my first job, my boss, he encouraged me to work on design part. So that motivated me, and he actually introduced me to the SEED exam, which is for the masters at IIT Delhi and IIT Mumbai at that time. So that was quite interesting. I appeared for it. I was very casual. I didn't prepare. But then I was All India rank 13th at that time.
Yes.
So it was quite an interesting journey. I did my masters from IIT Delhi. Intentionally, I wanted to do it away from home. So my hometown is Aurangabad. I thought I should go away from Aurangabad so that I can learn more. So that was the first step I took. And I came to IIT Delhi. I actually contributed a lot to the course as well as to the part of IIT where I was staying. After that, I started working for an industry. It's a multinational leading industry in water. So I started the design center in India back in 1998. At that time, design was pretty new to India and people were not very well aware about design. So I took a chance. It was a water industry. I thought I'll be able to contribute. So the journey, how it started was the first exercise which was given to me was to set up the design center. So I designed the office, workstations for 12 engineers. Second exercise was to go to, because they were not aware what designers can do, they said, okay, you have to go to Goa where we have our factory. There's a problem we are facing at factory. So I said, okay, let me see. So I went to Goa. There we used to make FRP vessels. And during that process, there was a lot of waste generated out of the process. All those glass fibers were waste and hazardous to the environment. And we were not able to dump, neither we were able to sell it. So they said, we need to do something about it. So I said, okay. I took a couple of weeks to understand the process, to understand the products which we sell, how the waste is generated. And then I came up with ideas and I presented a couple of prototypes to the management. I said we can utilize this waste to generate something. That was the first exercise and everyone was impressed. We were able to utilize the waste which is generated, and we had made a cycle where whatever is generated every day is utilized for a new product. So that was the first exercise, and I said, okay, I mean, how designers can contribute to any industry. This is an example.
So just to interrupt, I think your first project was to do with sustainability. And that's really heartening because 20 years back, you know, dwelt over sustainability when nobody was talking about it.
Yes.
So, do you think designers are actually molded to be sensitive about these issues?
Definitely. As a designer, we are very sensitive. We are keen to understand the problem, and we look at a problem as a holistic to solve it, not only for a particular problem which is defined initially, but how it is going to impact to the environment, how it is going to impact to any human being or to any to the system. So that is very important, and I think as designers, we are very sensitive, and we can do that. We can understand the problem to the core and solve for it. So most of the designs which I have done in past, they solve a lot of problems, not only the basic problem which it was intended to, but beyond that, how it is going to help others. So when we are designing a product, we also look at the packaging, we look at the transportation, we look at other stuff. So that is important part of the whole journey of design.
So you think that designers take a very system-oriented approach?
Definitely, yes.
And they look at a larger ecosystem to solve the problems.
Yes.
But do you think the industry has been able to accept such kind of solutions?
That's interesting. So initially, I was talking about my initial projects, and I understood that industry is not ready, but unless and until you prove it, it's not going to be accepted. So it took long time to make people understand, people who are around you, to understand how important your role is and contribution is to solve problems as a whole, not only the basic brief. So I'll give you another example. I was given a problem that we need to actually design a system which will remove iron from the water. So you go to northeast of India, we have a lot of bore wells which serve water, but it has a lot of iron content in it. And that's a major concern in that part of area. And people are not able to drink that. So I was given that problem. They said, okay, can we develop something? So I looked at what are the existing systems available in the system. I said, the leading industries have a very big system which consumes a lot of space, probably space of 10 by 10 feet, and it is not efficient, and the cost is very, very high. So I went back to my drawing board and I said, how I can solve this problem. So I understood what is the content which we want to remove. And I said, okay, how I can actually remove iron? What are the different methods? So I said, if I add chlorine to it, it will oxidize. And then I'll be able to trap all that iron. So I went to my lab and I developed a system where I was able to remove iron by adding some chlorine in it. And I said, okay, I can develop now a system. So I came back, I made a very small 1 feet by 1 feet system which can be connected directly to your hand pump, and it can remove iron. Along with the iron, it will also kill the bacteria and virus. So I gave a system which is very small, handy, portable. It can connect it directly to your hand pump, and it can remove iron as well as it also purifies your water.
Okay.
So we tried to solve that as a system, and which was very successful. I patented that idea while I was in the.
So, but this is very surprising that the industry was able to take solutions which were more in depth as compared to way the design is perceived in the industry. If you look at the way design is perceived largely, most of the most of the clients and people whom you work with, they treat designers as people who can give only aesthetic related solutions.
Correct.
Whereas designers are capable of doing much more.
Yes.
But largely it is not explored or not really decimated by the industry.
Yes.
So how have you been successful in changing this image of designers that we can do much more, we can go deeper in solving problems rather than giving very surface level solutions?
Yes. So somewhere deep inside me, I always was a mechanical engineer, and industrial design added a lot of inputs there. So whenever I am looking at a problem, I go to the core and I try to solve it from the inside. So that's the reason, like when I take a problem, and when I took problem when I was working with the first industry, I ensured that I will go to the depth to understand how how I can simplify that product. Okay, and unless and until you go in depth, you won't be able to simplify it. So just making surfaces or the exterior or the aesthetic part of the equipment or product is not going to help unless and until we try to understand the problem, try to understand the product itself. So it was very difficult initially to make understand my colleagues that what is my role. And slowly when I started developing my team, I ensured I have combination of designers, engineers, application engineers, chemical engineers, so that we work as a team and we can learn from each other. And I can add value, they can add value, and we can solve problems. So I encouraged all designers working with me to understand the problem from different perspective, from engineer's perspective or manufacturer's perspective or service person's perspective, so that you can solve for that particular application. So unless and until we design a product which is manufacturable, there's no point. Unless and until it is serviceable, there's no point. It's incomplete. So we have to think as a complete solution.
So starting your journey from something which was like very undesigned kind of a problem which you solved of setting the FRP waste into something which was usable and which was beneficial for the industry, taking 23 years of your journey.
Yes.
And I'm sure there must have been many instances which have been very frustrating for you during your journey, where you wanted to do something and you were unable to do, or you were not given a chance to do. Can we understand where all did you find such kind of situations?
Well, I don't remember, because I look at the positive side. I think of those which were solved, which I could solve. But important thing is, like, because of my nature or the way of working, I was the troubleshooter in my industry. So if there is a big problem, everyone will come to me because I will be able to solve that in a simpler way. So I think that's most important thing. I try to ignore things which frustrated me, and I'll focus on what helped others too.
That's really positive thinking. Yeah. I would say that in 23 years you have nothing negative to talk about. Itself is a big thing, and I think that's how designers should be. They have to keep the frustrating moments aside and look at only the positivity. So that's really fabulous. And do you think in your last 23 years time, you have made some very significant contribution to the industry, where it has benefited the industry and benefited the society both?
So if I talk about products, I develop products which are sustainable, which would help the society, environment. But the most important point or part of my journey was developing designers and engineers. And I'm very glad to say that I have developed engineers and designers now who are like flourishing, who are contributing towards the society, towards the industry, towards the sustainability part and environment. So that is most important. So like when I started my journey in 1998 and till now, there are so many designers who worked with me. There are so many engineers who work with me, and now they are contributing towards the environment or society, which is, I think, great achievement, I would say.
Again,
I feel proud
I
of
should
it.
compliment you for talking about things which are not very object oriented success.
Yes.
You just talked about your experience of sharing your knowledge and giving it to larger set of people who can further influence
Yes.
the industry, the society, the ecosystem.
Yes.
And it's really heartening to know that designers would be so sensitive to think about people first and then the objects. So do you think that is the way all designers work?
Yes, it should be. But I'm not.
Or is it?
But I would be able to talk about those people who work with me. They are contributing in similar way. What I taught them, they are trying to practice that wherever they are right now. So if it works, fine.
I should
That's fine.
congratulate you, Rahul, for using just the right scenarios. The way you look at design, because many times we feel that designers are very individualistic people. And I think this whole concept has come from some famous designers from across the globe, where they sell their stuff on their name, and that is what becomes a brand. Very object-oriented
Yes.
practice of design, I would say. But I think what you talked about is really heartening, because sharing is something which is very big, and if you can create more people like you, it means that it grows exponentially.
Yes.
So fantastic. I believe that this is the way all the designers should look at the profession, and this is how they should contribute.
Yes.
Influencing, sharing knowledge is critical for our profession. So you have worked with the corporate,
Yes.
and we know that as designers we are really hungry to do so many things, and we have a lot of conflict within inside, that we
Yes.
can do so much, but we get a chance only to do a very insignificant part, And while working with corporate, I'm sure this is something which must be a kind of deprivation for you, or deficiency in the whole system, or is it that you are happy working with the corporate?
So that's interesting. So I work with two major industries. I'm currently working with one. So I am given a task, or I'm working on a task. But beyond that, I also start looking at what are other things which are around that. Okay, I'll look at the industry, what is the industry about, and how we can grow, how we can contribute. So whenever I'm working on a project, it's not only I'm going to concentrate on that. I start thinking of other things, peripherals, how this can further contribute. So if I get time, what I do is I ensure every week or every month I'll spare some time on something new, which will contribute to the industry. So when I'm in industry, I'll think about industry. If I'm at home, I'll start thinking about other things, which will contribute to the society or to the environment or to anything else. So that's my philosophy of working. So I ensure that at the end of the day or end of the year, I'll have at least 2 or 3 other projects which will contribute to the industry. I'll go back to the system. I'll say that these are few things we should explore. And interesting thing is, those things which people have ignored or they don't know is coming to highlight now, and they say, oh, this is interesting. Can we do something in this area? So that's what I try to do, other than my regular job. And I won't only work on products, but I will look at a system. So I'll give you an example. If we go back to, say, thousands of years back, how the business was done, it was bartering. We used to exchange something in return to something else. So I said, why can't we apply that in this industry now? And I came up with a couple of ideas. I said, okay, can we do bartering with some other industry? That is going to benefit both. And there's no exchange of money, right? So people need to think in those direction also, like why can't we do that again? So I have came up with a couple of ideas and I shared it with the marketing team and they said, wow, this is interesting. In my P&L, now I can delete this because I am replacing it with something else. So that's what I tried to do. So this is another example. Then I also looked at sustainability. I said, okay, we have a lot of plants or factories. How we can actually reduce the energy which is being consumed right now, or the energy which is being used. Can we do that? Or how we can reuse the water which is currently utilized. So these are a couple of ideas which actually are contributing towards the industry now. People in this industry is now thinking that how to actually utilize energy which is already inside our system, how to utilize water which we are using in our factory. So these are areas which people started now looking at, and they look at it as a benefit, as a sustainable solution, as a user-friendly, eco-friendly system. So this is what I have been doing in last couple of years, wherever I can contribute, wherever I can come up with new idea, which will benefit the industry, I should contribute there. So I have actually placed few of these ideas already in the system, and it's working now.
So you have these new ideas which come to you. Do you always apply it to your domain of working, which is within the boundaries of your job? Or is it that you also do certain things which may be pro bono, where you're using your design thinking to solve problems around your home maybe, or within your family or within the society?
Yes.
And so, could you cite some examples of that also?
So I gave this example like bartering. So this is beyond scope of what I am doing or what I am supposed to do. I am trying to contribute to the other system. So I am also working with finance department. I try to look at the P&L and I say, okay, how, if we look at each and every item, how we can reduce this, how we can increase our profit more than expected, or whatever calculations we are doing, can we look at each and every item so that we can contribute, we can actually make it better. So that is one example. If you talk about marketing, how do we do marketing? Can we add value there? Because what happens is people have been working in the system for long and they don't want to change. They are accustomed to that particular way of working. And if there is something new, they will push it back. But unless and until we show the benefits of that, they won't accept it. So another example which I would like to take here is recently, let me recall, but anyways, sorry, I am unable to recall it.
I think what you very clearly mentioned was the benefit. So any idea needs to have a certain benefit.
Yes.
And in the industrial or a corporate terminology, we call it as ROI.
Yes.
So everybody is actually looking for some return on investment. That is one. And second is people are resistant to change.
Yes.
Which is based on their mindset.
Yes.
They resist new ideas, innovation. And I think these two are big challenges for designers.
Correct.
As to how to express the ROI mostly in numbers, which is something tangible for the business, and second is how to change the mindset of people, whether they are your internal customers within the company or if they are external customers, and how is it that you have been able to do this?
So I was just talking about one of the examples. So currently, the industry where I am working, we put equipments in the market, and the major problem with those equipments is the input water quality. So the system has been working in a particular way where we, instead of providing right water, what we are saying is we cannot put our equipment here because we don't have water. So as a designer, I thought, okay, can't we solve that problem? We should solve that rather saying that we cannot put it because there is no water. So I came up with this idea, which is beyond the scope of the industry right now. I said, why don't we provide water, purified water? And it's very easy because we are already providing other equipment or other components or other raw material. Why not water? And then I came up with a couple of ideas and I said, these are the options. So that you open up doors for new market or new, I would say, avenues. And people initially resisted, but they now see opportunity, which is humongous, which is huge, and they would like to tap that. So now they are working on those ideas and they're saying, okay, this is really wonderful because then now we can do more revenue, no more business. That is one of the examples which I wanted to quote.
So actually one of the questions which I had asked you earlier was that one is your industry domain where you're working and you're contributing to that. But as a designer, I think you also have many opportunities outside your company.
Yes.
So as I told you, like the society in which you are living, for example, and if you see certain problems like maybe the segregation problem of the garbage, or the security problem in the night. So these are all problems which are faced day to day by the people and within your society, people who are known to you, your neighbors and friends and all. So have you also been using design thinking to solve certain problems and taking such initiatives?
Yes. So the society where I am living currently, I looked at water as a major problem because in summers we have to get tankers from outside. Okay, so I said, why we are doing this? Can't we avoid this? There are different ways to do it, and how we are currently utilizing our water. If you look at all the flats or apartments, how they are using it, can we make it more efficient so that we have water in the summer when it is extreme summer and there is shortage of water? Can we make a system so that we are ready for that? So in our society, I have initiated the water harvesting system. What I have done is most of the apartments are using RO systems. So I'm trying to capture all that water which is being wasted and then utilize it. So I'm filtering it and then reusing it for different applications. So this is what I have initiated in my apartment. The other thing is recently we have this dry waste and wet waste which is being segregated. I have been telling my society to do it for a long time now. And now people are getting conscious and they're saying, why can't we do that? So we have found a space within the apartment campus and we said, okay, can we utilize all the waste, wet waste and make manure of it? So we have initiated that. So these are things which actually contributes towards the bigger picture.
So I think I should give you a thumbs up for this, because this is where we need to play our own role, not as only professionals, not as only oriented towards earning money as a design profession, but I think design is for the society.
Yes.
And charity begins at home. So where you live, where the people whom you interact with, if you can make their life better, if you can do things which can change the ecosystem, even in the most minuscule way also. And if you can create models which could be, implemented or scaled up around,
True.
I think that's a great idea. And I think that's actually a message from you to many of the designers to do things which can sensitize the society, which can help the ecosystem, which can improve the sustainable ways of living. And I think I should really, ask you to talk to more designers, and tell more people as to how to use your knowledge for many more things.
True. I would love to do that.
Great. So I think it's a great idea that you also talk to many other design teams
Yes.
across the board. So Rahul, you have spent so many years, 20 years, and I'm sure when you would have started your career 2 decades back, the perception of design must have been very different, because
True.
awareness of design was very less. And with so much so-called development happening in the country, how do you think the design perception has evolved, and how the businesses have been able to accept design as their business tool?
So, well, when I started my design career back in 1998, very few people understood design. And well, in India, we cannot say that there was no design, because what we have done is we have designed the system in such a way which would, as per the need, it was designed and developed. However, when it comes to products or usability or understanding the need, that approach has changed. Now people are more conscious when they are designing or developing something. So industries who were earlier copying products, now they understand the importance of design, and they would like to have designers in their team who could understand the problem and then solve it. So even if you take any example from, say, appliance to automobile or to your I would say fashion, everything is now changing. People are getting more aware about design. They understand the requirement, they understand the problem, and they solve for that.
Yeah.
So that has changed with time. We were doing it unconsciously earlier, but now we are more conscious. Industries are more conscious. They want a design element to be available in their product, so that they can talk about it. People understand it. Now people also, that is also important. Now people understand design. They understand the importance of it. So if you have a cup and if your handle is not designed properly, then it's not a good cup. So now the consumer is going to ask that. So the industry has to be ready for that. So that is changing, and that is helping the whole industry to look at design as an important element in their whole process. So I think that is changing, and it will further change. It will come to a point where I think design is going to be the most important thing for every product.
So there has been a lot of debate about the Western way of thought process of design, and we as early stage designers, we always used to eulogize Western design philosophies. Whereas the reality is that India has its own design philosophy.
Yes.
And but because of the cultural issues, because of the colonial past, we have not been able to really unearth the Indian philosophy of design. Do you think it is relevant to dig it and see as to what it was, and can we implement it in our design process? And do you think will it be different from the way design is perceived in the West as compared to India?
Yes, I think India can do much better than what we have been doing, and people will recognize it globally that okay, this is coming from India. Recently, I would like to add one experience or example here is, if you look at Airbnb. So I have a bungalow in Aurangabad, and I actually registered for Airbnb. And before I give it to someone, I wanted to understand how or what others are doing in India. So I was watching a lot of videos, and what I understood is those people who are coming from West to stay here in India in Airbnb house, they like the way it is actually decorated, or the interiors are or the colors which we are using. And they are so fascinated about it. They said, wow, this is what I want now in India. And that's the reason I am coming from West to see India. and I can start with this house, which is already Indianized, and it's so beautiful. So I said, wow, I mean, we as people in India or designers, we think like, okay, if somebody from West is coming here, they would like to have house decorated something like Western. It's not true. So they appreciate what we are, but we need to highlight that. We keep on doing that continuously, people will start recognizing it. So if you take any example, if you go walk on the street, we have designed our streets or shops or in such a way that which is relevant for that environment. And I think people will appreciate it.
Very true. Yeah. So I think what you're saying is that we need to retain and celebrate our DNA.
Yes.
Whereas until now we had been largely apologetic about it.
Correct.
Is it right?
Yes.
So I think all the designers and I think the new generation is definitely recognizing it.
Yeah.
They are not carrying the baggage, which probably earlier designers used to.
Yes, we used to.
So we have a great opportunity sitting in India, which can give us a whole new direction, new thought process, new design philosophy, which can really leverage those finer points of Indian design.
Yes.
So just to give you an example, and I'm sure you have been to the US so many times since you have been working with the US based companies. So if you go to any city in the US and you go to a shopping area and you close your eyes and open again, if you ask this question to yourself, which city are you in, you can't make out.
Correct.
But in India, if you go to different places, I think there's at least some identity which is still there.
True.
But a lot of westernization is happening. So when we talk to people say that, so how's the development happening? A lot of malls are coming in.
Yeah.
The first answer is the parameter to measure development has become malls, which are so generic in nature. So the mall in Delhi or the mall in New York may look pretty much similar.
Correct.
The shopping style, the way products are displayed, everything is same. So in your opinion, do you think is that the right way? Is globalization a great way of approaching design? Or is it that we need to build in some unique values which are our own, which are based on our culture?
So I would say nothing is wrong, nothing is right. What we should do is we should get the things which are good or best and implement it here, and we should also take our things which are good and better for the environment or for the society back to West or extreme East. So so nothing is wrong, nothing is right, and it is only perception. So developing country or developed country doesn't mean that we should have similar malls or similar things. We should appreciate the culture, the tradition, the origin of that particular geography or that place, and then we should build things around it. So we should not lose that. It's not necessary to actually copy each and everything from West or East. We should have our original thoughts also in our products or equipments or buildings or environment.
So I think you said something which is so valuable just now, and which is very Indian philosophy, that there's nothing wrong and nothing right.
Yes.
And which is pretty much Indian philosophy, that there's something which is the best of both, and you probably tread a middle path or do things in a moderate way, which means no extremes. So that is something which I think definitely is a message to many people who are in this profession, and we need to imbibe right things from right places. And in this connected world, I think we need to contribute to each other.
Yes, definitely.
So great. Now, of course, we have spent so much time and being a design profession, and I'm sure it was your passion.
Yeah.
But do you think your family, which means your wife, your kids, do they think that you are in the right profession?
Yes. So, like, we appreciate whatever we are, and we appreciate the other person also. So my wife, she's quite open and she encourages me to do the right thing. I will encourage her to do the right things in her profession. My son, he has started now appreciating design, and he appreciates whatever I do. So he will try to follow. So it's very important for me to do the right thing. Otherwise, he'll learn something else. So I have to do right things so that he learns right. So, and I have now started introducing design at each and every step to him, so that he understands and appreciates it. And probably if he wants to take this as a profession, he can take it. So I ensure whenever I'm with my son, we'll go to exhibitions, we'll go to any concert. He's in 10th now, he's 15 plus. So I have introduced photography to him, so he's learning that, he's enjoying it. And now he wants to do his own solo show. So I'll encourage him to do that.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you are percolating down the creative juices.
Trying to do that. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, fine. It's okay.
Great. So a few more questions and
sure.
So one is that you have now so many designers who are coming out of India. So what happened in China way back in 2004-05, and design schools started mushrooming in China. And I remember reading one news column that in Shanghai itself, in 1 year, there were like 100 design schools which came up in 2005-06. And now, just today I came to know that in India there are 1,024 design schools, which means we are churning out designers,
Yes.
But when you have too many people, then it should not so happen that design becomes something which is like,
commodities
in the right fashion, commoditized. So what is your message to the young designers who are going to pursue this career? And the way we see the future, with a whole lot of technologies, connectivity and all this happening at a very rapid pace. Now, keeping that in perspective, what is it that you would tell the new designers, your message to them?
So if we have more than 1,000 schools, it's quite interesting. We'll have a lot of people coming out of design school with the design profession. So the important point is going to be like, be sensitive, understand the need, try to learn in your initial phase of career. Please try to learn as much as possible. Be open to criticism, and then start working on those ideas which makes you happy, which adds value to the environment, which adds value to the society, and be there. That's it.
Great. So, one of the things which is like really crossing my mind is that of late we have been talking a lot about sustainability, and it's actually a fashion to talk about sustainability. So in your opinion, do you think sustainability is a subject? Is it a subject to talk about and discuss, and or is it something which is a habit which needs to be practiced? And how do you think design can contribute to whatever you think is right?
So I think it is a practice. It should be practiced every day, by every person. It shouldn't be like taught, or don't need to learn that. We should understand, we should appreciate, we should respect each other. So we should respect environment also. So if these designers who are coming out of these schools, if they are not aware and if they are not sensitized to it, then we should teach them, we should tell them that this is going to be very important in your life, in your career. So start focusing on those whenever you're working on any project. So that should be now imbibed in the process, in every person, in whatever he or she is doing. So that should be a practice, I would say.
Great.
That is my opinion.
Great. So the last question.
Sure.
Thanks for being patient with so many questions. Sure. Last question is that how do you see yourself in next 10 years time as a senior designer who has gained so much of experience and intuitivity? So where do you place yourself?
So I would like to now share my knowledge with the designers, upcoming designers or engineers or human beings, and I would like to show them the path, the right path, and I would request them to practice it. So whatever I have learned, I would like to share it with them now, so that they also are able to use it in their career. I am actually planning to further do only teaching job. Probably in a couple of years after getting retirement, I would like to get into teaching and developing designers and engineers who are very sensitive towards the whole environment, their surroundings, society, everything. So I'm slowly getting into it, and I'm very sure with time I'm going to get into an institute where I'll be teaching this. But other than this, what I'm planning to do, which I'm sharing here for the first time with outsider, is I'm going to start a school, and I would like to imbibe or teach small kids about the basics, whether it is design or your society or environment or everything. So they should understand that from the beginning, so that when they become adult, when they are into a career, they understand the importance of it. So I have a place now where I'm going to start the school, the basic school, and take it forward. So that is my idea.
Very noble thoughts, I think. And to just summarize the whole talk, I feel that the kind of inputs that you've given, the way you have approached design, I think it's a very noble way of looking at things. It is not object oriented, it is
Yes.
not money oriented, but it is for the benefit of people, it is for problem solving. And I feel extremely happy to hear all this from you, because this is what we want to imbibe in the new generation, And people like you, if you are starting a school, if you are getting into teaching, this will be a great influencer for the new generation. And I think it's a great thought which you have. And thank you so much for being with Desmania Detox, coming here, taking out time from your busy schedule, and giving your real inner thoughts, which will definitely benefit many, many people. I would like to wish you all the best in all your future such endeavors. Thank you so much, Rahul.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.